Important video because, as you've already may figured out, the stuff that they're producing these days just are not built to last, right? Remember the good old days when you buy a washing machine and it'll last 30 years? You buy a car, it'll last, shit, if you took care of it like some people who have plenty of time on their hands, it could last decades and decades, right? Remember when cars were very distinct looking? You could tell this car apart from that one. Remember? But then over time, like maybe late 80s, somewhere around there, they started like losing their individuality. And now it's to the point where I can't tell a damn Honda from a Toyota or a Mazda. I mean, they all look the same. Maybe slight differences in the evil-looking taillights. Notice how the taillights, the headlights look like eyebrows, like mad eyebrows on someone with these stupid LED lights. And their taillights, they look like fucking, if you really look like sunglasses or telephone. I mean, they have weird shapes. Everything's just weird. And it's made like shit. They're saying don't buy new cars now. Because, well, the technology that they're putting in, it was supposed to be, as this guy's going to say, used to be cars were made for you to go from point A to point B. But now they've added multi-layers to it. Now they surveil you. What is it? They want to put in, they listen to you. Everything's computerized. Everything's surveilling. I even heard, I think I came across in the fast read that they want to put in, what do you call it, breathalyzers in there. And you have to breathe into it. Doesn't matter if you have a record or not of a DUI. They want you to breathe into it before you could go from point A to point B. All right? So it's all surveillance is what this is. And they're made like shit on top of it. Appliances are made like garbage. Just the 2-year-old washing machine. Our 2-year-old washing machine, it tried to go kaput. It had to be rebooted. The computer had to be rebooted. It wasn't working right. It had to be something like that. I was like, this is just 2 years old. This is retarded. Shoes aren't, another thing, shoes. $40 pair of sneakers. The front part of it, you know where the sole on my comes up in the front, the sneakers comes up in the front, the bottom, the rubber part. Well, that's pulled away from the actual shoe itself, and they were new. I mean, it didn't happen on day one. It happened like a couple months in. But that shouldn't even be a thing. That shouldn't even be a thing. Shoes aren't made right. Clothes are tearing. They're making clothes like shit. Where's a cotton? Anything, cotton shirts, cotton shorts or anything, gym shorts. Everything seems like it's made out of fucking plastic now. And the clothes don't last. The shoes don't last. We know marriages these days don't last, relationships. Cars, I saw one video on YouTube. Person bought a car and what was it, a week later or so, a very short time, the car literally broke down. Brand new car right off the lot. Are you JKing me? They're doing this on purpose. And they're trying to paint us into a corner, like phasing things out. He's about to mention it. Phasing some kind of refrigerant for his cooling system, his air conditioning. They're trying to phase that out and force him to buy a totally new air conditioning system. He's going to explain it to you. I don't even know this guy's name. I've seen him before. And I'm getting this from one of those rogue channels. That, you know, when someone mirrors other people's content, but they don't leave the name or all that, it's neither here nor there, really, to be honest with you. It's this, what you have, your old stuff, I wouldn't be throwing it away. I wouldn't be giving it to Goodwill, Fat Goodwill, Salvation Army. I hear all those are just rip-offs anyway. You're giving them stuff for free, and then they're making money off of it. How crazy is that? Places like Goodwill, they're charging outrageous prices for secondhand stuff, like a shirt that might have been $3 not too long ago. It's ever since the scamdemic. It goes for like $10 now. We're being robbed and ripped off everywhere, from everywhere. The grocery stores, the Glock stores, restaurants, fast food restaurants, buying clothes, buying shoes, buying cars, even buying homes. He's going to show you how shitty the wood is compared to 30 years ago and before that. How houses were made to stand the test of time. Like those old houses you see in your downtown, and if you live, especially if you live in a small town, Houses over 100 years old, still going strong. You think a house being built now is going to last 100 years? I think HCN heck to nah. And then on top of it, these bastards are literally, they are fucking putting, or wanting to put mini data centers attached to new homes. Yes, that's right. You heard that right. There's startup companies out there that are working on making this happen, because it's just, there's so much pushback on these big data centers, right? So much blowback on it, so much pushback from the people that they said, the B system said, okay, maybe we should slow down on building these mega data centers that are eyesores anyway. How about this? How about this? This is what the B system's saying to the people who might be sheeple if they go along with this. They're saying, well, we won't build as many big ass data centers. We'll put a mini one on each new home. You got smart meters on your home. That shit's monitoring everything and listening and all that, pinging out frequencies, radiation frequencies. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there on how no bueno smart meters are. Smart anything's not good. Smart for them, dumb for us. But yeah, they want to put your personalized data center attached to your home. You down with all this? Did you sign up for this? Because I know I didn't. I didn't sign up for chemtrails either. This is ridiculous. I'll play part of it. We'll see how long it goes. And if I decide to, I'll just attach the video to this and let it play. You can
I never thought in a million years I'd have to sit out on my front porch in the middle of July.
Oh yeah, the skeeter problem. He said first there's the ticks, getting bombarded by ticks. Now it's mosquitoes. Yeah, I can't sit outside in a I can't even sit outside in a regular short sleeve shirt, much less a tank top or a muscle shirt or whatever. I'll get eaten up in shorts and all that. Yeah. When I mow the lawn and take care of the property, I'm freaking wearing steel toe boots. I'm wearing jeans or other type of long pants. I'm wearing a flannel shirt or some kind of old dress shirt, long sleeve. I have a helmet on. These bastards, these fucking mosquitoes are everywhere, man. They're constantly. I've never seen anything like it. It's funny how they say the insect population has dwindled by 90%, which I believe it has, but for some strange reason, they're out there a-biting like crazy. You don't even see them. You don't even see them. And here's another thing I find weird. How is it that up until the last recent memory, I'll say, I used to be able to go down the road, drive down the road, especially interstate, and you'd get bugs smashing on the front of your car, smashing your windshield, splatting on it, guts and all that. Ain't getting that now. None of that. I got no bugs hitting my windshield. I got no bugs on the front of my car, and I have to like wash it off and scrub them off and shit. No. So it's funny. They say the insect population has dwindled by 90%, and I can understand. I can see why. Because when I go driving around dusk and all that, when they're supposed to be out, they're not out anymore. They're not hitting my windshield. But if I go in the backyard or front yard, start mowing or weed eating, and wearing a shirt like this or a muscle shirt, I'm getting eaten up. That's weird. It's strange, but listen to what he has to say.
Wearing a long sleeve shirt, but here I am. And it's definitely not because it's cold outside. It is because I'm completely overrun with mosquitoes. First it was ticks, now it's mosquitoes. I got torches sitting all around me. I'm doing my best to mitigate this problem, but
Okay. The name of this video is about... I know, I interrupted again. I won't interrupt. I'm going to attach this video to this. I'm going to attach it. It's 18 minutes long. I'll attach it to this. He said, hold on to your old stuff, and don't be a hoarder about it. But you might not want to throw away or get rid of your old car. You might not want to get rid of anything that hasn't been turned into shit over time, like I don't know, a tablet, a computer, anything that, all the shit that they sell today sucks. If you got like say a car from 1999 or even 2005, like I got a 2011 car, and it has some computer aspects about it, but it's not nearly as advanced as these newfangled cars. So I'm holding on to my old 2011 car. Okay. So it's like that. If you got one, try to hold on to it as long as possible. Don't be selling it to get a new car. Basically what he's selling. And the stuff that we have, our old stuff, is actually could be priceless. worth a lot of money. Could be actually considered a relic or an antique. Yeah, stuff that we have now. I mean, think about it. Think about what he's about to say. Because I even said to someone recently, I said, why do you want to sell? Why do you want to get rid of this? Why do you want to get rid of that? I think you should hold on to that, I said, because that could be worth money. That piece of furniture there, yeah, it might be 50 years old or 40 years old. That could be worth a shit ton of money. Just anything. Think about what you want to get rid of versus what you shouldn't get rid of. You know what I'm saying? And watch this video. Because what you have could be considered priceless. Either now or in a not too distant future. Pay attention to this, because everything they're making nowadays sucks. Food, everything. Even the weather that they're making sucks. Take a look. Okay, I'm interrupting again. Because this is important. This is very important. The economy, ever since 2020, ever since the scamdemic, has not been doing good, okay? It hasn't. It hasn't been. Now, there are people out there, you could see them and talk to them in the public sphere, maybe at the grocery store, at work, or at the gym, and maybe at church, and they will appear to be doing really well. I mean, yeah, they're going on business meetings and trips and vacations and all that, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. Increasingly, more people cannot afford the economy that's been existing since the scamdemic, done on purpose. Ever since they shut her down, locked down, closed the ports down, and all that stuff, and wages haven't been going up forever, but yet everything else has been going up, especially since the scamdemic. The economy is not good. It's not. All right, gas around here just hit $3.99 a gallon. Might as well say $4 a gallon. But that aside, I want you to listen to what he has to say about holding on to old things, relics, just the older stuff that you have, and that includes people in your life. Especially if you have parents that are elderly, grandparents, you should just listen.
Stable.
Cherish it.
Super cruise.
Cherish it.
If you do it too many times.
And for
Okay,
the most
they're
part,
talking
when it comes
about
to these,
not only the breathalyzer aspect in these cars, but they also they're gonna have AI in there that will really read your face and your emotions. And if you get in the car and look like you're a little ticked off, it might not start. If you happen to be driving, go, oh, look at that over there, too many times, well, they have an answer for that AI in these new cars starting in 2027. Listen to this.
Vibrate your seat. It's watching. And if you look away, it lets you look and enjoy, but it wants your eyes on the road. And it will disable Super Cruise if you do it too many times.
and for the most part, when it comes to these agendas that are placed in these objects and all these things around us today, they are mostly geared around greed, money, and power and control. That's really what it all boils down to. So if you have old things in your life, cherish them.
See, he said if you have old things in your life, and that includes people too.
Objects and all these things around us today, they are mostly geared around greed, money, and power and control. That's really what it all boils down to. So if you have old things in your life, cherish them. Hold on to them for dear life and never let them go, because they are already priceless. But they're just going to become more and more priceless with every single day that passes. And people are realizing this. And that is the reason why the price of this...
I've been saying this for the longest time. If you see me, whenever I'm on this topic with people, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I say to them, if you see me with like a top hat, long beard, and a horse and carriage, top of the morning to you, I went Amish on you. I am that close to wanting to go Amish on you. Seriously, Amish. Seriously, I'm really sick of all this shit, and I'm sick of the direction that we're going in. Many data centers on your house. Are you kidding me? Friggin' surveillancing you when you're in your car. Surveillancing you, your router surveillancing you. Everything is.
I never thought in a million years I'd have to sit out on my front porch in the middle of July wearing a long sleeve shirt, but here I am. And it's definitely not because it's cold outside. It is because I'm completely overrun with mosquitoes. First it was ticks, now it's mosquitoes. I got torches sitting all around me. I'm doing my best to mitigate this problem, but it seems like today, in this new modern world that we're now living in, this is just the reality. And it seems like there is a coordinated effort to take everything that was once good, everything that was once perfect, everything old, and let's just see how bad we can screw it up. And I'm here to tell you, if you got old stuff, it doesn't matter what it is, tangible or not, that stuff is becoming priceless. And there are so many examples on why this is. And matter of fact, I just lived through this the other day because I did something I thought I would never do, not anytime soon anyway. And I went out and I bought a new car. And before you start trashing me, I didn't buy a new car. I bought a car that is new to me. Big difference there. I actually downgraded my car from a 2007 to a 1999. And there are many, many reasons I did that. Most namely, it is because the car I bought, it's something I fully understand. I've worked on these things many times. I've rebuilt the engines. I've done frame-off restorations. I know these things like the back of my hand. So I am purging out all the new stuff that I have, and I'm bringing in the old. Because the old, it's stuff I understand, it's stuff I can work on, and it's stuff that I know if I maintain it to the best of my abilities, unless something happens and they make it mandatory that we have to get rid of this stuff and we can no longer use them, it's going to last me the rest of my life. But in shopping around for this new vehicle, something that should be worth about $1,600, $2,000 at the high end, I quickly found that these old vehicles are now going for a mint. They're very, very expensive. And I ended up spending a little bit more than what I wanted to spend. I still got a pretty good deal, but from just 5 years ago, the cost of these older vehicles has skyrocketed. And the reason this is happening is because everything is becoming junk. I don't think I even need to tell y'all that because y'all see it in your daily life. Everything around us is just, it's built to fail, number one, and it's built with an agenda. It's not about just serving a purpose anymore. Like back in the day, this vehicle, for example, it was to serve a purpose. It gets you from point A to B. It's a mode of transportation. Today, vehicles are not that. They have all of these additional agendas and these features built into them. And I say features because it's not just about being a mode of transportation anymore. Now it's surveillance. Now it's monitoring. Now it's going to run your biometrics through a criminal database to make sure you're not a criminal. It's not about being a vehicle anymore and serving that purpose. It's about all these other things.
Imagine a world where you get in your own car to go for a drive, but before you can start the engine or shift out of park, an artificial intelligence system is scanning your face, analyzing your behaviors, and determining if you're alert enough to drive. It sounds like a far-off science fiction story, but it's not. It's happening soon. In 2021, the federal government voted through a new safety initiative saying that every new car sold starting in 2027 could be required to monitor the person behind the wheel. By scanning your face, eyes, and tracking your behavior, new cars could determine if you are a risk to drive and stop you from starting the car. The goal is to cut down on drunk driving and improve road safety, but some people have concerns. Kendall says this also leads to privacy concerns.
This is why, Ben, I have a car, and this is no joke. You know this. It has no power locks. It has no power windows. It reports to no one. It barely has a terrestrial radio. I'm not trying to evade anyone, but I don't want the government knowing anything about me.
Local car dealer David Fusen of Fusen Automotive tells me that AI is already in some cars with self-driving auto cruise features.
It does watch your eyes. If they're closed, it vibrates your seat. It's watching. And if you look away, it lets you look and enjoy, but it wants your eyes on the road. And it will disable Super Cruise if you do it too many times.
And for the most part, when it comes to these agendas that are placed in these objects and all these things around us today, they're mostly geared around greed, money, and power and control. That's really what it all boils down to. So if you have old things in your life, cherish them. Hold on to them for dear life and never let them go, because they are already priceless. But they're just going to become more and more priceless with every single day that passes. And people are realizing this. And that is the reason why the price of this old stuff is going up. Because people are moving away from all this new junk. This stuff that has an agenda that is baked into it. And they're opting for the old stuff that is simple, stuff they understand, and stuff that is not trying to just extract money from them. And my house here is another prime example of this, because this house was built in 2009. It still has the original HVAC system, but today they keep phasing out the refrigerant in these HVAC systems every couple of years. And they claim it's because they want to preserve the environment. You know, the old refrigerant is bad for the environment, so now they're making stuff that is better for the environment. but they phase it out it seems like every 5 years. And the HVAC system in my house has R22 in it, which for some reason I have a very, very slow leak in that system and nobody can seem to find it. So every 5 years I have to get it recharged. And because they have phased out R22 and it is becoming very, very scarce, it's not going to be too long in the very near future that if it runs low again, I'm going to be forced to buy a brand new system. Not because my HVAC system doesn't work anymore, but because I cannot recharge it. And to me, that is a huge scam. That is some sort of coordinated effort to just extract money from people because they don't want HVAC systems like mine. They don't want HVAC systems to work 20, 30 years. They want you to buy one every 5 to 10 years. And that is the common theme with all the stuff in our life today. It is all about maximizing profit. And they do this numerous ways, not just the fact that we have to go out and buy this stuff over and over and over, or we have to pay subscriptions, but just in how crappy the stuff is today. And another way that homes are a prime example of this is I watched a video that explained lumber in houses and how the old houses from like the 1970s and prior had wood that had all these different lines within the wood. Like if you look at the base of the wood, the 2x4, you'll see all these lines in there. And that basically illustrates the age of the wood because every ring in that tree is a year of that tree.
My property that was built in the 1950s, and I want to show you why they say old homes are stronger and built better. This piece right here took 7 years to get to where it's at here, these 2 inches here. You can tell by the basically the lines. The top piece here, I counted them, it's over 30. So these 2 inches took over 30 years to get to this point. Bottom piece, 7 years. This top piece is a lot more dense than the bottom piece, which makes it a lot stronger than the newer pieces of wood.
So wood back in the day that they used to build these houses, it was 20, 30, 40 years old. The wood today is like 7 years old. So they're using wood that is very, very young. The trees are not mature enough to be very strong. So the wood that is in a lot of the houses today is trash. It is very weak, it is brittle, it is fragile. And that's one of the big reasons that new homes don't compare to the old stuff. So if you have an old home, a lot of people will say, well, that's junk, that's a fixer-upper. It needs all this work. But if you get it to the point to where it's in good condition and you can, breathe new life into it, that home that has probably already lasted 50, 60 years, maybe 100 years in some cases, is going to last another 100 years. The new stuff is not that way. They use all these man-made synthetic materials now in these new homes. And not only is that stuff very, very cheap and it's made that way just so that they can maximize profit, I also believe it's toxic because as somebody who's traveled around the world and has seen a bunch of old ancient structures, I can tell you that when you walk in these old structures that are not climatized, they don't have air conditioning or heat, and they're very humid inside, and in some cases there's water dripping from the walls. The one thing that you don't see in these structures is mold, and specifically toxic molds like red mold and black mold, things like that. It simply did not exist. But I can guarantee you that if I were to turn off the heat and the air conditioning in my house and even open the windows, it would be a matter of months before I would have mold growing in this house. And it really makes you wonder if it's the material itself that is causing that mold growth, and specifically that toxic mold growth, because all the structures from back in the day that used natural materials, they didn't seem to have this problem. And when it comes to houses, there's something I read just the other day that blew my mind. And that is the fact that they're going to start putting standalone data centers on the side of new construction homes. That is insane to me. And the reason they're doing that is because obviously data centers are straining the electrical grid and people are opposing them in mass for good reason. But to mitigate that opposition and to reduce the strain on the electrical grid, now they're going to start building these new construction homes with these wall-mounted data centers already installed.
Span, which is a startup that makes smart electrical home panels, is teaming up with NVIDIA and PulteGroup, a major U.S. home builder. Span is now making small fractional data centers, they call them nodes, that can be put on the side of residential homes. So the idea is to take advantage of unused electrical capacity on local grids, which the Span smart panels find. Now, a network of these nodes talking to each other across the country is the equivalent of a mid-sized traditional data center. So these could actually negate the need to build as many of those huge data centers. Hyperscalers and AI cloud providers just tap into the node network like a regular data center. Now, SPAN collaborated with NVIDIA using its technology in the system. SPAN claims it can install 8,000 of these units about 6 times faster and at 5 times lower cost than the construction of a typical centralized 100 megawatt data center of the same size. Now, Pulte Homes is in on the early testing phase, looking at the capabilities and economics of these nodes, which have already been deployed in a handful of communities.
So not only are you now getting a house that is of worse quality, you're also getting a house that has an underlying agenda baked into it. And in a lot of cases, when it comes to these new homes, there are many baked-in agendas. You'll have the AI data center that is built in. That's an agenda. You'll have the Google Nest or the Alexa or whatever it is, the smart home features built into a lot of these new homes. You'll have the smart thermostat. You'll have all these features and these comforts that don't really bring us that much comfort. And what they do instead is they allow someone else to access your home 24/7. And that is especially true with the smart meters and stuff they're putting on the side of homes, because they're already looking at ways to reduce the strain that is on electrical grids right now beyond putting data centers on the side of homes. And one of the ways they're looking at doing that is basically having utility companies tap into your thermostat and automatically throttle the thermostat up or down to conserve electricity. These are the features, the quote-unquote features, and the comforts that are being baked into all this new stuff. It's an agenda.
House bill has the potential to allow utility companies to remotely control your thermostat.
Nearly everyone I talked to today wasn't very keen on what this new bill's proposing, a program in which consumers can decide whether they want their utility company changing the thermostat at home.
That's not something I would be accommodating to.
This was the typical response from the dozen or so people I talked to in Dayton about whether they would be willing to opt into this program.
That's too much control for me.
I got you.
And so I wouldn't be accommodating to that whatsoever. If you start giving too much power to people controlling your environment inside your house and inside your dwellings, I don't think that's very good.
The main idea of House Bill 427 is this: customers will have the option to participate in a demand response program, which would limit customers' energy usage when there's a heavy strain on the power grid. The customer's energy provider would be able to change the temperature of your air conditioner, thermostat, and cycle your water heater. House Bill 427's main sponsor, Representative Roy Klopfenstein, says that the bill is a, quote, crucial step in our state's comprehensive plan to ensure all Ohioans have access to reliable, affordable, and readily available energy, end quote. I reached out to AES Ohio to see if they'd be interested in this program. They sent me a statement back saying, quote, we are currently evaluating the bill and plan to engage in the legislative process as it moves forward.
Now, this bill is still fairly early in the legislative process and is still waiting to be heard by committee, but states like California and Texas have implemented similar programs.
And when you look around at our new world, you're going to see this throughout pretty much every single aspect. Phones, computers, it's all the same. Phones back in the day, they served a very specific and very narrow purpose. You could call, you could text. In some cases, you could take a picture. Today, look at all the stuff that is baked in. Look at all the additional agendas that are in these phones. Just a couple weeks ago, I was having a private conversation with a friend through WhatsApp on the phone, and I was texting. And I kid you not, later that night, I started getting ads on YouTube for the exact thing I was talking about in that conversation. So these phones no longer serve that narrow purpose. They serve all of these other purposes. They feed us ads, they control what we think, and they control how we feel. It is based on an algorithm that has an agenda. TVs, computers, it's all the same. These things are not made for us in mind. They're not made for us to be able to work on. As soon as something fails, you throw it away, and they have completed their reoccurring revenue model. And the craziest part about this is that this does not just stop with the things that are tangible, because there are so many things that are not tangible that now have some sort of agenda, some sort of ulterior motive that is kind of baked in. Friendships and relationships are a prime example of this. And if you're blessed enough to have a group of old friends that you've known for decades, that is something else that is absolutely priceless. Cherish that and hang on to it for dear life, because that is getting harder and harder to find today. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that people in general have changed. People back in the day, they were genuine, they were authentic, they were real. People today, it's not really that way. And if you look around at society, it is not hard to see this, because there are a lot of NPCs out there today. There are a lot of people that when you talk to them, they give you that 100-mile stare. It's almost like they're not looking at you, they're looking straight through you. It's like there's nothing behind the eyes. There's no soul there, there's no spark, there's no spirit. It's just an empty void, and it is honestly kind of terrifying. And it's actually really easy to identify these people. Not just because of the fact that they're kind of NPCs and there's nothing really behind the eyes, but because when you talk to these people and you get to know them, it's always about me. What can you offer me? What am I getting out of this relationship? What is in it for me? It is never about how can I complement their life? What can I bring to the table? How can I leave them better than I found them? It's always about me. And the underlying agenda here isn't just self-centered main character syndrome. It's a form of greed, because that type of selfishness is greed. It's a form of extraction. What can I take from that person? What am I getting out of this? That is the underlying agenda. And it truly does feel like there is some sort of coordinated effort to take everything that was once good, everything that is old, and destroy it. Destroy it by making it new and baking in agendas that are focused around greed, power, and control. And the silver lining here is that people are now catching on to this stuff. They are wising up to this. And it is causing them to move away from all of these new features and these comforts and these agendas. And it is steering them back to the stuff that is real, genuine, and authentic. And I guess the one bad thing about that is it's causing the price of all the old stuff to skyrocket. That is kind of a terrible thing, but as long as it gets us away from all these new agendas and all these new features that they're baking in, that will always be a positive thing, and it will far outweigh any price that you can ever place on it. Because, like I mentioned, the old stuff, the old friends, the old relationships, everything old, even the old world, it's priceless. It is invaluable. So if you can grasp a small sliver of that, hold on to it for dear life and never let it go.